Okay, I cannot tell you how hard this is to do and try to look back in the viewfinder to catch it, so I'm going to do it the best I can. I've already scribed it, and what I'm trying to show you here, when you're doing this, I usually take a couple of bolts and put into the header and try to get it lined up the best I can, because you got to balance it between all 4 ports. And then go in here and scribe the line. And it ain't much of a line, but I got it enough balance between all the bolt holes to where I'm allowing for some play of moving it. And look at this, you can just see there's no way you can grind that totally flush and make it enter the tube. So I can clean it up some and blend it, but it ain't going to be 100% true match. And this is what you have to deal with. Now what I'm going to do right now is go ahead, take the bolts out, and try to get y'all a close-up shot so you can see what it is I'm fighting against here. Because if you tried to go in there and even get remotely close to that, you'd go right through the buildup weld that they put on it. Headers are really, in mass production, they're really a mess. It's hard to get a good quality set without having them built on the car, but it's still, in all their problems, they're a lot better than regular factory headers. Alright, let me reposition the camera and get y'all in. This is a good shot. It's awful hard to get this in my bench to get it to straighten up, so I do the best I can. So anyway, man, you can tell it. See, look, if I tried to go in there and port this thing out, the buildup of the weld is right there on the lip. So, I mean, it's just impossible. These headers are that much off center. And we roll on over here. Let's take a look at the centers. Alright, which the bottom part of the port, I'm really not that concerned about that much. But still, look right here. Hell, I'd be off past the edge of the weld. It almost rolled off. So it gives me an idea. I know how I can break it and clean it up right here on the edge and come in here. I can do a lot better. It was worth him sending it for me to do. Let me just put it like that. It's going to let me clean up and make a lot better port. But remember, this is the smallest performance header gasket that Pro makes. So anyway, I'm going to go in there and we're going to work on the headers right now and get that part ported, and then switch to the intake, and then I'll have the 2 prints I got to have to finish up the cylinder heads. Alright, I'll show y'all this. I don't have a header fixture built, and I don't do it enough, so what I use is just a tie-down strap and pull it inside my bench, and that'll give me enough bite on this thing to hold it. Because remember, the only people that work here, me, myself, and I have no helpers, no employees. I got a son that's 20 years old that plays video games at the house, says he's going to make $1 million doing it. Well, he's been doing it for 2 years and ain't made $1 million yet. But anyway, I got this here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here with a carbide, of course, a steel. I've got and believe me when I tell you, don't use any of your good bits, because this hard steel, it absolutely wreaks havoc on them. So my suggestion is, try to get you a cutter that, while not being totally dull, ain't a very important one. I usually pick these double cross ones. And kind of makes it a challenge, because, man, have you got to be careful. I'm going to come in here, bevel the edge, come in on the side, and roll it, and try to take some of the trash out inside the center of it. So let me get powered up, and I'll let y'all follow me on this little adventure, because this was kind of scary. Okay. This is what I'm referring to. Like I said, we're using our older burr because of it being the steel that it is, and you can see my trace, my outline I'm not going all the way to that line. I take my finger and I run inside of them and I see how nasty they are. The first header I did had 2 big chunks in it. I really wish I'd have had the camera on that to show what I'm talking about. But what I'm going to do is I'm laying this back probably about 15, maybe 20 degrees. Because if I go in there to try to move material to bring that space, sure as hell I'm going to bust through. And I don't have the money right now to be replacing headers. I just had to rebuild my air compressor. It let go on me about a month ago, and that cost me damn near $800. I just now got that running recently. So this 2013 was the year of having to rebuild and refurbish about 30 to 40% of the stuff in my shop. So I don't need no accidents. Anyway, go back. Come on around. Then I just go in the tube a little bit, knock, splatter, and like I said, I didn't go all the way quite to the edge. I'm just breaking the edges of it. And that's pretty much it. Now, like I said, if I had that brass built up, I could go into it a little bit better, but even then, you can't go into it too much or you will bust through. They're so thin. Let's look at the center ports. Here, you can get the real gist of it. Look how bad that is, how much it's off center. Okay? I can't go back as far as what I'd like to, but at least I can start a funnel where it ain't just a big brick wall that the exhaust gases are trying to get out of. Okay, and then see this one right here, it's not too bad, it's pretty close. This just shows you the inconsistency of the headers, and like I said, all I'm trying to do is get it somewhat reasonable. I'll go back in here with the sand roll, which I'm fixing to show you, and polish it and blend all that to get the garbage up, and I know it helps some. I wish I had a dyno to show how much it would probably help straighten it up, so I don't have that, so here we go. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and finish touching this up some with the grinder, and then I'm going to go in there with the sand roll and polish it and blend it and pull them in. I'll let you take a look at the finished product next to sand roll. Okay, I got an old sand roll box that when I use part of the meat on the top of the sand rolls, I'll throw them in and don't totally destroy it. And this is where that comes in handy. I can go in here with my ones that are half feet up and make use of them, trying to save the sand rolls. Anyway, now that that's ground, I'm going to come in here. And try to take the sharp radius out of the apex corner where I went in there and ground on the header tube and try to pull that little mountain down to smooth out that transition. Okay, now the test, when I get through, is I take my finger and I run in there, and I should not feel any humps, bumps, crevices. It's all smooth. As you can see, I didn't go all the way to the line. If I did that, I wouldn't have any seal to bite, and I'm not going to do that because that would result in a header leak. One of the things I'd like to do, if I've got the time, is carry it over to my machine shop guy, just out of curiosity, have him kiss off on the belt sander on it, because I've just seen too many of them warp. What I might do is take my straight edge and stick a feeler gauge up underneath it. Hell, let's go ahead and do that right now. We're in a perfect position. Alright, what I've got here is known as a machinist straight edge. I've already found something. I'll look at it. I think the center buildup is a bit higher, because this is a 10 thousandths feeler gauge, okay, right there. I can almost slide through. I can't there. I'm getting, look at that, I'm getting some there. Now in the center, which it's hitting, it's solid, none there, but look what happens when I come to the end. Wow. I mean, that's just slide right through. And it's on the inner part, not the outer. So what we got is the center is higher, the end is higher, this end here is lower, and as you see, that end there was lower, so it's like a wavy ocean. I know that a header gasket is, I can measure it, I'd say probably 50 thousandths thick. This is a 10 thousandths feeler gauge, and as you can see, I mean, it's hard to even get it. It's that unlevel. Okay, I'm getting a press right there, none there. Look at that, big old gap. I'm going to go ahead and go up to 15 thousandths on my gauges. Hell, you know what? I'm going to go up to 20. That's about half the gasket size. Surely this thing won't be that bad. Alright, so a 10 goes through it real easy, a 20 don't, so why don't we try to shoot in between and see if we get a 15. Boy, these are some old feeler gauges, y'all. I've had these things for over 20 years. You figure it's time for me to get a new set now? Alright, here's a 15 thousandths. It's just so wobbly. Alright, I got a 15 through right here. Look at that. On this side. And I can almost get a 15 through. It's starting to go through on the end. So what I'm looking at right here, y'all, is 15 thousandths on this particular set of headers. I don't like that, and John and Peter have been such good customers and have tried to work with me through all this. I guess they're over there in Denmark and everything, and money transfers a bunch of crap. I feel I owe this to them anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule in my machine shop Monday or Tuesday, carry these headers over there, and I'm going to have them dress off of it and square this up. Now this is a lesson for you people out there. Take your headers, if you buy them, put a straight edge on them, and I would say what you'd be looking for is around 5 thousandths. I mean, if it's got 5 thousandths of warp, the gasket's going to absorb it. Hell, it probably would even absorb 10 maybe, but you start getting into 15 and 20 thousandths worth of warp, I'm sorry, I just think that's a problem that could be avoided. Yeah, it costs a few dollars to have it machined. I think he charges me about $25 or $30 a header to go in there and plane them off. But there is hands down no doubt that this is worth it, because everybody knows how messed up header leaks can be. So I'm going to take these, finish my polish work. You've seen how I test it, and then I'm going to put them in the box. Alright, next thing up is going to be the intake manifold. We got a little bit of weird botchery going on here between 1206 and 1205, and I'm going to show you how I do it.